Call. Board Member Desume. Board Member Keys.
Here.
Board Member Galvin. Board Member Bien-Aimé. Chairman Joseph.
He will.
Board Member Keys, we have a quorum.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay. So, do we have any change?
No,
Board
ma'am.
Member Galvin.
Here.
We're starting prompt tonight, huh?
We have a
We have a
party at
reception
6:30.
6:30. That's taking up, so we have to.
First I'm hearing of this reception.
Okay.
Don't we have budget tonight?
No, that's the
Next
17th.
council meeting.
Today is council meeting.
CRA budget.
Yes, we're doing that now. And then,
Okay.
We have.
Surprise, surprise.
We have our Grand Fiesta. Not Grand Fiesta. Our Hispanic Heritage opening
reception.
reception.
Is that the email that I got for the first time about 5:30 or
Could be.
4:30 this afternoon?
be.
Okay, no. Huh?
Anyway, do we have any change in the agenda? Any
No,
amendments to
ma'am.
the agenda?
Nope.
No?
Can we do the
Uh,
Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, we need to pledge. Jesus?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve minutes of July 10th.
So moved.
Okay, roll
I have a
call.
motion made by Board Member Galvin to move the approval of minutes for July 10th. That motion was seconded by Board Member Desume. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 4-0. Okay.
That was the minutes, right?
Those
Yes,
minutes, let the
yes.
record reflect, Mayor Joseph,
Chairman, okay.
How you doing?
Chairman Joseph. We're on agenda item number 1.
Number one, okay.
Good
right.
evening, everyone. Rasha Camo, CRA Director. Oh, I'm sorry.
A resolution of the Chair and Board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the fiscal year 2017-2018 amended budget, authorizing the CRA Executive Director to transmit the fiscal year 2017-2018 amended budget to the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, authorizing the CRA Executive Director to take all action necessary to complete the approval process for the fiscal year 2017-2018 amended budget with the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, and providing an effective date.
Okay. Good evening. Dunya, if you could put up the PowerPoint, please. Okay, thank you. So we are presenting to you an amended budget for this fiscal year 17-18 on the revenue and the expense side. On the revenue side, when we closed the books for the CRA in October, we had estimated the carryover amount to be 3.8 million. However, when we finally closed it and we went through the audit, the carryover was actually $4.2 million, which is an additional $369,000. Additionally, our interest on investments in our bank account has increased tremendously this year. So we usually conservatively budget for $3,000 in interest revenue, and it's actually going to be a little bit more than the $6,392 that we have here, but I'm showing right now a difference of $3,300. The miscellaneous revenue is the additional $25,000. This is one of our CRA grantees. We had funded her for an enhancement grant of $25,000, and unfortunately she sold the property and the business, and as per our grant guidelines, the fact that she sold it before the 3-year hold, we had to get reimbursed. So at the time of the sale, we received a check in the full amount of $25,000 from the grantee title company. So there's a total difference of $398,109.
Rasha, where was that $25,000 redirected?
It's
Just into the general fund, or?
well, I'm going to show it to you in the other
Okay,
page, in the
I'll show.
expenditure page, but
Okay.
it happened recently. All right. So in terms of the expenditures, one of the expenses that you'll see under operating expense, we usually budget for operations for community policing. And we had to actually reclass the $72,000 difference into the community outlay because we are actually paying for capital equipment, the license plate readers that you're gonna be hearing about later on in this, in the agenda. We had to reclass that amount. The additional dollars went towards the increase in the commercial grants, and also, as you recall, we had purchased a street sweeper this fiscal year for $281,000, because remember, it takes 8 months lead time to order it. So the surplus, as you were asking, that surplus went to pay for those expenses. So it's a wash, pretty much. So this is for, this is the amendment for the 17-18 budget. If you have any questions.
At this time, we will entertain any concerns, questions, or comments from the public. Public hearing is open on the item. I see none, hear none. Public hearing is thereby closed. Any further discussions on the dais? No?
Just on the budget in general?
That's the next item.
Okay.
That's 18.
Motion to approve.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Keys to approve agenda item number 1. That motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0. Next item. Agenda number 2, a resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget, authorizing the CRA Executive Director to transmit the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget to the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, authorizing the CRA Executive Director to take all action necessary to complete the approval process for the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget with the City of North Miami and Miami-Dade County, and providing an effective date.
This is for fiscal year 18-19. This is the proposed budget. Our revenue this year for the city's TIF contribution is $3.9 million. As you recall, in the interlocal, we refund the city 45% of the east side, which is about $408,542.
You mean the county?
No, the city.
The city? Okay.
Yeah, that's on the Solemia side.
Okay.
And that was the new addition in the interlocal in 2016. So our net contribution from the city to the CRA will be $3.5 million. The county TIF, I'm sorry?
From the city to the CRA, from the CRA to the city?
No.
Okay.
The city TIF is $3.9 million. Once we remove the refund that we will be issuing back to the city for the east side, which is $408,542, the net contribution to the CRA from the city TIF is $3.5 million.
Mr. Mayor, through you to Rasha, can you break that down for us a little bit more layman's terms? You're whipping through it. I know everybody wants to go have a snack at 6:30. I'm in it for the long haul tonight, so what?
So,
Restate that, please, a little bit more in layman's terms.
all
if
right,
you're
so the historical background of it, as you
able.
recall.
History.
No, I'm
but-
just trying to break it down for you.
Right.
All right, so the city's TIF contribution for this fiscal year is $3.9 million, as I had stated. However, since the new interlocal that we signed in December of 2016 requires us to refund the city 45% of the east side, which is pretty much the Solemia area, that refund to the city is $408,542. So once you deduct that from the total $3.9 million contribution, our net revenue for the CRA will be $3.5 million.
So we're balancing a budget that has $3.5 million in it.
On the city side.
city
I
side.
haven't
So-
given you the county one yet.
So let me take a stab at layman. So, you know, you have a city contribution into the CRA trust fund, and then you have a county contribution into the trust fund. Based on our existing interlocal parameters, there is a give back to the taxing authority of the city, and then there's a give back from to the taxing authority from the county. In the case of the city's portion, the give back is only 408,542, which is the first footnote there on the slide. And then no, the first one.
The first one,
The first
net
one.
city contribution,
If you see in the note itself, it says we're giving back 408,000.
88,000.
In the case of the county's portion of the 2,545,000 that's being deposited total into the trust fund from the county, we have to give them back 2,091,649.
And
For net
that's from the west side, they got that?
That is the
All
west
of-
side
and the east. side.
and the
East,
and a
Central.
portion of
Central.
the 45% on the east side.
Yeah, anything west of Biscayne.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
so
But
the
that
ar-
was that's
That's the deal.
a portion of that has been in place
Yeah,
since the original.
Right.
The largest portion of it has been in place since the original
Agreement.
CRA was created.
yeah.
So
Okay.
And our net contribution from the county, when you refund them the $2 million, is $454,236. We have an expected carryover of $1,758,163. These are for capital projects that we are finishing up, and we haven't finished. We will discuss it further in the future in the capital projects section. The projected interest on investments, I have it now increased at $6,000. As I said before, we used to be conservative. It's been good this year. Hopefully it'll keep moving. So for the total budget for this coming fiscal year, it's $8,238,894. That is our projected revenue for the CRA.
I think it's worth noting that only like 3 years ago, maybe, the operating budget was $400,000.
Yeah.
Thank you, Solomia.
well, actually, the
Not
biggest
really.
growth
It's
area
the
is the west side.
West side.
The west, you only contribute.
Okay, so explain that to me.
Right now, because Solomia still is under construction,
Right.
other than the sale of the land of the 50 acres, there has been no real add to the Solomia side. The growth has been, the
The
large
west
amount of the growth that you're seeing is coming from the west side, everything west
West
of.
of-
West of
Of
Biscayne.
Biscayne, like
Yeah, and
Audi
we
of
should
North
really-
Miami.
We should really like use that term a little bit more clearly. Does that mean that property value increases are driving the increase in revenue to the CRA?
Property value and any new construction that would
Projects.
have happened in the area, so
Okay.
that's.
And small businesses, no? No, that,
Big, small?
Well,
right?
Yeah, commercial, commercial.
But that's all your commercial and residential real estate values combined together. Keep it in mind though, because I don't want it to look too crazy. Residents who have homestead exemption, and that portion of the city is largely single-family bedroom community. They still have their statutory protection annually, 3% increases. So you're talking either flips of property that are occurring, and like I said, new construction, probably the biggest piece.
Yeah, it's a lot of new construction.
So-
That's the main.
The next slide is a brief summary of,
20? Yeah.
the next slide is just a brief summary of our accomplishments. The budget narrative has more detailed explanation of what the CRA staff and the board has been doing for the past year. We provided over $1 million in commercial grants. We commissioned the workforce housing study to guide future housing priorities. You will be hearing the final study at the October meeting. We commissioned a mobility hub master plan to be presented at the October meeting as well. We've completed 80% of the market positioning plan that was created by RMA for us. The new website, the new Walker's Guides, the poll banners, the new grant programs that we've created, and so on. We funded a rehab for 59 homes totaling $1.190 million, in addition to funding half a housing coordinator and half a housing inspector. The Mocha Plaza renovations are underway. We've established a NOMI Connect program with the North Miami Police Department to assist businesses. Like I said, these are just brief a summary of what we've done throughout the year, but there are more accomplishments in the narrative. Our future expenditures, our administrative cost is still at 4% at $323,955. Our total operating expenses are at 16% of the total revenue, which is $1.3 million. Our refund to the taxing authorities are 30% of our budget is refunding the taxing authorities, 25% to the county, 5% to the city. That's $2.5 million. And the capital improvement, we have $4.1 million, which is 50% of our budget. In that, we are proposing for this fiscal year, what we're proposing to do is we need to finish the strategic marketing positioning plan for the downtown Nomi and the city of North Miami, hiring a public relations firm to market and promote positive experiences of being in downtown Nomi and within the city of North Miami, establish a downtown neighborhood ambassadors and clean team program to improve the downtown Nomi and the city of North Miami as a safe place to live, work, visit, and enjoy. Launch a monthly strolling event or similar and continue to support events by enhancing the existing ones like Jazz at Mocha. Implement an arts in public places program to beautify and or activate unexpected pockets of the downtown. Focus will be on murals and utility box wrapping in the downtown surrounding the Mocha Museum. We have budgeted $540,000 to continue funding single-family rehab programs through the city's housing division. That will fund approximately 27 new homes or units as you choose. By the end of this fiscal year, we will actually have completed one of the benchmarks in the interlocal, which was to rehab a minimum of 70 units of low-income housing. So as part of our benchmark requirement with the county, by 2024, we needed to have done certain things. And the rehab of the 70 units of low-income housing was one of the items. So we will have met that requirement earlier than expected.
One question
Yes,
that I
sir.
had on that. How much are we allocating for this potential PR person or PR firm or person?
It's the going rate, or when I've priced out all the PR firms, it's about $5,000 to $7,000 a month. It's under the professional services.
170,000?
No.
I'm looking at a line right here, it says operating expenses, marketing professional events, 170,000.
No, it's 95.
95 for the, which line item are you referring to, Councilman?
Are you looking at the summary?
I am
Budget at the
now
county.
that I see that you're looking at that.
So it's the last page of the item. There's a detailed summary, and you'll see about halfway through it says marketing / promotional
promotional
event
events.
/ position is 95,000 for the year. That's the total budget.
But we're budgeting 170 with, because the next column over says,
No, that was the current fiscal, the last budget year. That was 17-18. The last column on that
right.
sheet is 18-19. The budget that you're actually approving right now.
Then I must be looking at the wrong
Wrong.
sheet, because I don't see anything that's labeled 18, 19.
You know what? You're in the amended budget item. Keep
Okay.
scrolling over.
Okay.
Technology. Which tab is this?
Which page, which tab, which page?
In your book, it is tab item 2.
Okay.
On your iPads, and in your book, and it's the last page in the
Okay.
book. And then on the iPad, because we still are, it's all one document, it is, hold on, I'll tell you right now. It is page 44 out of 426.
Is that Exhibit A? You looking at it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
Exhibit A.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all of the entire CRA agenda is one item on the iPad.
No, I'm saying the page you're looking at has Exhibit A at the top.
Yeah.
It would, the
Yes, that's the
spreadsheet,
page.
Yes, it says
the
Exhibit A.
spreadsheet would say Exhibit A, because it's the reference in the resolution.
Got it?
That'll be page 7. Is it?
10.
From where,
No.
Uh,
Make sure you're on tab 2 in your agenda book. in the
How be the
physical.
page that was after page
It's kind
E?
of like page 15.
Yeah, it's kind of page 15.
Yeah.
in the-
But it's not numbered.
Oh, this one
Yeah.
is page 15.
It's actually
The
the,
other one with the 95,000 is 10.
it's the last page in agenda item
Item
2,
It's the last page in agenda item 2
in the
Yeah.
hard copies.
in the hard copy.
Not this one, Scott. It's,
Yeah, no, I found it now. Now I'm backtracking through some of the other stuff.
So,
Okay.
with this 90, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, with the 95,000, does that include education or that's a separate line item?
education.
Outreach, education?
The marketing and promotional events category that you're looking at for 95,000 includes the education part.
And you
It's
think
for
that would be enough?
events.
I'm just asking.
Are we still, do we still have RMA? on
No.
We're done with RMA?
Yes,
we're done.
once we did the kickoff,
Okay,
their contract was over.
so they're not in here,
Nope.
okay.
May I ask a question about the commercial incentives program?
Sure.
As I read this, it's at $1.4 million.
Yes.
Do we have a specific plan for where that's going to be used, or is that something that we'd bring back later, or tell me more about
So-
that?
The,
So I'll address it. So you typically, unless, I know we have one rollover grant amount that we have to pay out of that, that was approved this year. But then the rest of it is typically been on a first come, first served basis, based on the pipeline of the applications. So technically, it would be up to you to decide, and each of them come back to the board for approval.
Do we have projects outside of the one that's outstanding that's rolling over? Sorry. Do we have something that's already in the pipeline, or is that just sort of,
no, this is the new monies for this fiscal year. We have actually received applications from businesses applying, and they would be coming to you in October and November to apply. But
And-
that's a new pot of money.
and what would fall into acceptable categories, acceptable projects under that category of commercial incentives?
I mean,
Well-
everything that you have historically approved under the various programs.
Like Pollo Tropical came out of commercial incentives?
Correct.
Right, okay.
So anything that would come forth, obviously, we would have the policy discussions with you with regards to, is this worthy because they're adding jobs or things? Or maybe just one of the ones that are meeting the standard grant qualifications of the existing program, so.
Okay. And do you recall, of the 1.4 million, approximately how much is still encumbered to the project that's rolling over?
360? 302?
Mhm.
302.
So we have 1.1.
Yeah.
You have budget,
Actually, I'm
but for
sorry,
1.1?
can I clarify the one
Yeah.
point, the 100,000 is the film incentive.
Oh, big.
So
baked
it's
into
1
it.
million for
1 million,
commercial,
okay.
100,000 for film incentive program that we created last year,
Okay.
and then 302 out of that for the continuing program.
You
project.
could manipulate that number if you thought the 100,000 could be better invested in a business as opposed to holding it for a possible film production or,
Right.
because I don't
Does-
think
does-
we haven't had any,
I was
we've
gonna
not had any requests under the film program.
Does any of that money from last year roll over to this one?
No.
So it just bleeds
Yeah,
back into
I
the
mean,
general
yeah,
fund?
because based on our experience, we get more requests for commercial grants, so it made sense to,
Right.
have, as we get more requests in the film, then we will make a recommendation to the board to increase that line item. But right now, it seems more appropriate to leave it at 100,000 and then fund more of the commercial grants that we're being asked to fund.
Right.
That includes facade and rehab and business attraction.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for letting me stumble into all that.
no
Thank you.
problem.
That's
Yes,
mean,
No, no,
go
no.
first?
No, go ahead.
The question, you have $1.4 million for commercial grants, right?
Yes, sir.
Total for the year.
Yes, sir.
But the capital infrastructure grants that I see for 2 million could also be used for commercial. I mean, it could be used in a number of ways. You're basically, it looks like to me, if I'm understanding this correctly, you're basically locking in dollar amounts for categories, but you're not presenting actual projects to us right now.
In the case of the, in the case of the capital projects, those are identified. They're on that spreadsheet. If you go down to the bottom quarter of the page, you'll see capital projects and you see a breakdown. You see a breakdown there.
But just a quick question, anytime during the year, if we feel like
Yeah,
there's
there's
a need
something else we
for
could
something
always.
else, we always
Right.
can move.
Yeah.
You can always
Yes,
amend.
you can, you always have the opportunity to adjust the budget and shift your priority. The only guidance that I will give as the executive director is keep in mind the statutory requirement that if we have,
No, I understand there's some
allocated to a
requirement
project.
like affordable housing,
Right.
thing like that.
you can do more, we can do less.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I will tell you, like, the Griffin project, we've kind of had that one out there for a while. So I would, and we've
Right.
already procured, the procurement of the design will be coming to the
Right.
board soon.
Yeah.
So that one I'd say, leave it alone, let it
But it's
move
not living
forward.
alone. This one
Yeah,
was budgeted before it was
Yeah,
a
exactly.
carryover.
That's my point.
That's when it's not.
Yeah.
But
Well-
it's not a part, the 1.4 is not.
Yeah, the
any
1.4
carryover.
is not, set aside for any particular organization,
Project.
business, or project.
Gotcha.
Now, I know that you mentioned all the other centers here. Remember recently I spoke with you about, I keep forgetting the name of I think it's the Clyde Center.
Oh, yeah,
Judson Center.
Yeah.
not Judson,
It's
Oleander.
Clyde. No,
Is it Clyde?
no, I think it's Clyde.
It's
The
the one
Clyde
you
Center.
talked about.
Kiwanis
I
Park,
have-
Clyde Center.
That was the part of the city's budget discussion.
Yeah,
I have funding to be able to deal with that.
but you won't have to put it on the
It won't
CRA.
affect the CRA.
Okay.
Now, what about that, what the mayor was saying next to that, that's Oleander, right?
No.
Little one.
Whatever.
No, I know. I'm asking you,
The
would that
park?
be addressed in the general
In
fund?
the general fund budget.
Okay.
Because you guys are actually, well, you're talking about the same part.
But we are, no.
Yeah.
Is it?
I've
Yeah.
told, so it's Oleander.
It's 121st Street.
Oh, to Oleander.
121st, yeah.
16 or
It's,
13?
I think it's Judson in Kiwanis Park. No?
Yeah,
Which
that's
one is
together.
Clyde Center? Where they have the YES program, the soccer
That's
YES.
what you said, that's
you
that's Mario,
I-
right?
Yeah, Mario, yeah.
That's
Isn't it?
Judson.
Yes, that's,
Okay.
I have identified funding in the regular budget to deal with.
Okay, not the
Okay.
CRA.
Can
I
I
got it.
make one observation? It's not, to me, it's not a good observation, but of the $3,900,000 tax revenue from the TIF revenue, the city's general fund will only be getting $408,000 from that. And I want to point out that we just had to we are looking at putting in 16 police officers from the general fund. So what I have said before is we have a property over there, we got 180 acres, we have a lot of development, and we should be having tax from that to pay for its expenses, and we don't. And here is an example where we're gonna have a bigger expenditure for police than we're even getting the money in. And it's just an observation for the record.
May I respond?
Yes.
Couple things to keep in mind. You do have lease rent, you have lease revenue, you have homeowners, portion of the homeowners fee from the Oaks. There's probably another $4 million of non-quote-unquote ad valorem revenue that's coming in to deal with that. And with regards to the ad valorem revenue, as I stated before, none of the stuff has gotten on for Solomia as of yet, but over the next 2 or 3 years, you're gonna see exponential growth in that number. So it's a timing
But
issue.
we're limited to 1 million, no matter how, aren't we
That's
under our
that's not
agreement?
that's not the city side, that's the
County.
county side.
Okay.
So, but our side, you will,
See that?
as it gets to in the hundreds of millions of dollars, if you will,
Right now, we're just a little bit
We're just-
upside down.
yeah,
It will
right now.
eventually, We'll
It-
get
it
more money.
will-
upside
Right
down.
now,
Yeah,
we're
we're upside down,
We are
but it will,
upside down.
It's 400,000 here plus the works, which is.
it is, but I don't want you guys to focus solely on the ad valorem because of the other revenues that are, you're not getting ad valorem because you have a lease. And that's basically the value of the ground. So we're getting that via a payment, a direct payment. I would almost tell you it could be characterized by some as a payment in lieu of taxes, but I don't want to go into that because the appraiser might be watching. So,
Can I, okay. So, the initiatives that we're gonna, do in addition to what I've already mentioned, continue providing the commercial grants, the existing businesses, and push the capacity building and retention grants to improve the operations and provide technical assistance to the businesses. Establish a NOMI restaurant boot camp program for existing restaurants in need of intense technical assistance. Establish a restaurant incubator program and collaborate with area universities such as Johnson & Wales and FIU Food Incubator to recruit applicants. And as we were mentioning earlier, the capital projects, the two main focuses that we have in addition to the projects that were presented to you before, we need to focus on the P3 downtown redevelopment project in sense of our requirement to the county is to have a parking garage for 60 spaces and retail space by 2024, and also redevelop Northwest 7th Avenue by providing grants in the Chinatown Innovation District. Also, once the mobility hub is presented to you and approved, whatever tasks that we are required to perform to continue getting the project done, we will bring to you as well. In terms of the community policing, we are funding the police and other projects, like for instance, the license plate readers that we're funding for this year. And Major Beige will be coming to you in October to present to you additional innovative programs that the police is doing for neighborhoods and businesses. And that is my presentation.
Go back to that last slide, please. I believe it's the license, the license plate in the community policing. How much are we allocating for each of those?
The license plate readers, it's actually in this item, because actually, when I did the narrative, I didn't realize I was going to be able to put it on the agenda for this year. So it's $165,000 for the license plate readers, and the community policing.
What is that? Please, what is that? The license plate reader.
it's an apparatus, it's a camera apparatus that would be able to physically read a license plate and indicate if someone is a stolen car, a revoked license, or something like that, so that the police could respond.
Okay, but if I may, but what would that, the existing cameras we have out there, they're not, so this is a new program to read people's license plate.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
agree, yeah.
I don't
mean,
know about that too much.
It's a
I
little
mean,
scary considering the
what's going on?
the red light cameras and all
Yes.
that stuff. That was a
It's something that the board had previously considered and
Because
moved
when
on.
it comes to privacy, it's something that we I'm very in support of any new initiative, but now we're in a slope where the government is, you reading. I think I understand the intent. I guess to catch the bad guys, but is there another way we could do it? The police that we're gonna.
No,
Can I
no,
allow
I don't
Chief
need
Beige
The Chief Beige.
to elaborate? Sorry.
No, I don't know which side you want me to go to.
Good.
I was just picking a side.
Oh my God.
Good evening, Assistant Chief Robert Beige, City of North Miami Police Department. And I was going to speak on the item for the license plate, which was further on the agenda, but I'll speak about it now from the direction of the manager. The license plate reader technology is a proven law enforcement technology that many cities, local governments, state governments utilize. And what it does is it captures the license plates as it passes by a fixed point. The license plate is compared against the hot list that we input. Stolen vehicles, like the manager said, wanted vehicles, felons. We put in a list of tags that we're looking for. It doesn't run every individual plate. It compares the plates that pass by against the hot list that we've put into the device. So if a stolen car passes by, we will know that that stolen car passed by 125th Street Northwest 7th Avenue at this date and at this time. What we do then is our dispatchers get on the radio and they'll tell the officers there was a stolen vehicle on Northwest 7th Avenue, a red Toyota Honda going northbound.
Okay.
We'll go north of there and we'll look for that Honda. What we can also do with it, and me and Rasha have extensively talked about this, is the privacy concerns you brought up, is how long do we keep that data for? We're going to look to keep that data for 90 days because that's pretty much the Florida Public Records Retention Law for us to keep the records probably for 90 days. Whatever the minimum requirement for us to keep the records for is how long we'll keep the records for to try and balance out the privacy with the need for investigative.
Let me ask you one question, sir. So once they pass by, are you getting real-time data, or what's the delay in letting the cops know that that car passed by 7th Avenue or Biscayne Boulevard?
It's almost real-time data. It will be within seconds. So,
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
if we get it, and it has to be on our list. So if it's not on our list, it's just going to store your tag number, and it'll store it for say
Okay.
the 90 days. And the reason it stores the tag information is if we ever had a crime, the Wendy's gets robbed, and we have nothing else to go on.
You
We could go
on
back and look
those.
for those few minutes before and a few minutes after the
What
robbery.
areas are you putting these in?
They're going to go at the
The big
Alberto's
commercial?
Place, 119th Street, and Northwest 10th Ave is one of the locations we wanted to put one at. The check cashing store on Northwest 7th,
Northwest 10th. Why no?
for 119th Street. We want to get
Oh,
the.
okay, for 119th.
So, but that's
Gotcha.
that's the cross section. So
Got
the
it, got
Northwest
it.
10th, 119th for 119th Street.
Okay.
We want to go the check cashing store at 123rd and Northwest 7th Avenue. The overhang right here by Cafe Creme. The Wingstop, there's a metal light pole that's on private property. And then Captain Jim's on West Dixie Highway.
What about Biscayne?
Currently, two reasons that we stayed off of Biscayne.
Yeah,
One
why?
is Biscayne's really not in the CRA, so we have to stay within the CRA district. So we were looking for locations within the CRA. And the other thing right now, we were looking to put them on private property because FDOT is still working through permitting to put them on the public right of way. So if we put them on private property and shoot out to the public right of way, we don't have to get any permits from FDOT or from the county. The permitting is all done from us.
And to add, Miami Gardens has already started the
Miami
program.
Gardens has them,
and
City of Miami,
are the
City of
Miami-Dade
Let me
County.
say this.
So-
I love Miami Gardens, but the complaint, no, that's fine. That's fine. We unique. You can't compare us to anybody else. But I do understand the intent of the program and you know, so that's fine. But Master Manager, please, let's talk about the locations before we go into. Thank you.
I have a question. It's 160,000
165.
165.
for what? For equipment?
It's,
Because the item is next, so I was gonna let Alberto do it, but go ahead.
That's the total package. That's for hardware, software, installation. It's for to get the system from zero all the way through operational. For training of the officers, for the maintenance of the system, it's for the complete cost of the system.
160 per year?
No, it's 165,000 for the first year, because the first year you have the infrastructure cost. And then Alberto could tell you the
How much will
recurring
it be the
cost.
second year?
Yes. Good evening, board members. Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Department. It's,
Wait. If you allow me through the chair. Do you want to do those questions? The item
No,
is,
that's fine.
Now we're doing the item.
Because
Right?
yeah, we're doing the item. The item's coming
No,
up.
but we have to talk about the money first. That's the
Well,
budget.
The money,
Do you mean the
Okay.
presentation is not over yet? The presentation is not over?
Her
The
presentation is
presentation is
over.
for the company, but now it's the money attached to
Okay.
it.
No, I guess what's being discussed, is the presentation over?
Yeah, it's her
No, it's
presentation.
coming
over.
at the regular council.
Huh?
Presentation
No,
is
this is
over.
not coming to regular council.
the budget presentation.
But we
is
should
over.
entertain public, you know,
Okay,
the
yeah,
public,
let's
the
do it
public
public,
first, because we
okay.
don't want to violate any, you know,
I was just trying to make
What's
the point that
public
we
concern?
started.
no, for the budget items.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
budget item.
No, you put it public, you did public hearing already. We're not doing the item, I'm doing,
That was the,
I'm just not sure where we are. We are on item two?
Yes, sir.
The
Item
budget,
two, still.
Okay, so the question is on the amount.
the budget,
Yeah,
the
Okay,
the
good.
160.
budget.
That's what I wanna know, if the
See,
160.
we should have put the budget
include-
last and did all these items before, I guess. That would have helped.
No, we in the budget.
I know what you're saying, but
That's two different things.
Well, quite simply, in terms of the maintenance, the annual maintenance, it's approximately about $1,000 for each location or each site. So really, the maintenance is a minimal part of this. As Assistant Chief Page mentioned, it's really, the cost that you have there, $165,000, mostly is for all the startup costs, for the installation, for the programming, for the actual equipment. This is just starting from zero for a new program.
Do we own the equipment at 160?
From my understanding, we do, but we have a representative right here from
With
the.
the red light camera, I understand. And every year we have to pay for the equipment.
I'm fairly certain that we do, Mr. Board Member, but we have a member right here of the vendor.
No, I'm not,
But,
we're not discussing the vendor.
but
Russia put an item in 100, budget
Well,
$160,000. That's what we want.
yeah.
We're not talking about the vendor.
So,
but
with-
the
let me
vendor
clarify,
should approve it.
allow me, if you would, please, sir, through the board chair. The 165, and we were looking at timing, is actually in the current year's budget. And it's been there. You appropriated the money. We weren't sure if we would be able to get the item approved in time, so that's why it was being discussed. It was on the slide for the new year budget. In the new year budget, as, our procurement director just explained, the maintenance is about $1,000.
About $1,000.
So that's what we'd be picking up in the FY
Listen, I understand
2019
that.
budget.
I may approve this
Okay.
and not approve the item, the company that you choose. That's two different stories. I'm asking a question about the
Addressing the
165,000.
budget. With regards to the budget, the 165 is in the FY 18 budget, and the maintenance is in the the ongoing maintenance for the year is in FY 19 budget.
But I'm trying to find out, if we spend $165,000, do we own the equipment?
I would say, Mr. Board Member, I have to confirm this, but I would say yes. I mean,
Can you confirm it if they're here?
They're
No,
here,
not them.
but we're paying
Oh, well,
for,
how would you
we're
know?
paying for the purchase of the equipment, the installation of the equipment, the program. So obviously, it stands to reason that we would own the equipment,
100%.
100%.
Can I ask my question now? In reference to this particular item, since Miami Shores, Miami Gardens, and all the other cities was listed, has anyone done any study to see what was the reduce as a result of this item? How is it working? How effective and efficient is this particular item?
The license plate readers?
Yes, sir.
The license plate readers would be a game changer for the city of North Miami. They are very effective. They are very effective in identifying stolen vehicles.
Okay,
They're
no,
effective
I know,
for-
sir, but do you have data from the other cities in reference to before and after? Or can we get data?
There's national studies that talk about the effectiveness of the license plate readers.
Okay,
The International Chiefs of Police have written articles about the effectiveness of license plate readers. To give you specifics, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I can tell you there's several within the peer review articles that talk about the effectiveness of the license
so
plate readers.
nothing locally, like when you go to your,
No, there is. If you go to,
Okay.
when we talked, there's a gentleman that's on the CRA advisory board from the city of Miami Gardens, an officer.
yes, I know him.
And he highly spoke about the
Emmanuel
license.
Genti- Yeah,
He highly spoke about the license plate readers.
We can look into seeing if we can get the data.
and because my next question is if it's good, we need to look on the city side to add some on Biscayne, because why is it good we depriving some areas of the area?
Yeah,
No, I'm saying as we doing this, we should, if it's that good, I think we should have it and kind of work out a package with these folks instead of this 160 and instead of then going back out again to do another one. If it's that good, I'm assuming it's good, so we need to share the wealth.
Keep in mind that this started out as a pilot initiative. That's why we have just this piece
Oh.
right now.
So the plan is to add more
At
if the
some
pilot.
point, as we continue through the life cycles, we would
Because I'm saying the pilot would be Miami Gardens and Miami Shores. They already have it. I mean, I know us technically don't have it yet, but based on what Bay just saying, it's going to work. I'm assuming it's gonna be a changing thing, and I think all of us are for that. So those are my two little things. I would love to see some type of data, and I do trust you in law enforcement that it would work. If it does, let's. Thank you.
Any other questions?
That's it. We have to open it to the public. Public hearing is now open on the item, budget 1819, right?
Yes, sir.
Public hearing is still open, but I see none, hear none. Public hearing is therefore closed. Any further questions or discussions on the dais?
Need a motion for approval?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
What are we approving? This
Budget.
item 2?
Yeah.
No, the budget.
Just
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
A-
That's
Item 2, 1819.
The budget
I-
include 160.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve item number 2. That motion was seconded by Board Member Bien-Aimé. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, a resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the recommendation of award of invitation for bid IFB number 52-17-18, renovation of Iron Manors Park to M&J Consulting Group Corp., DBA M&J General Contractors, authorizing the CRA Executive Director and CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with M&J Consulting Group Corp., DBA M&J General Contractors, as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for a contract amount not to exceed $267,263, authorizing the chairman and CRA Executive Director to execute the agreement, authorizing the CRA Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement and providing an effective date.
Good evening, board members, once again, Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you, agenda item number 3, represents the results of solicitation number 511718, which was an invitation for bids issued by the Purchasing Department, seeking bids from experienced and qualified firms to perform the Iron Manors renovations project. As reflected in the memo that's submitted in support of this item, this solicitation was issued on behalf of the North Miami CRA for the primary purpose of selecting a contractor to carry out the proposed renovation project for Iron Manors Park. The park is located at the intersection of West Dixie Highway, Northeast 9th Avenue, and Northeast 132nd Street. Here with me this evening is the project architect, Ms. Alyssa Kriplin, with the firm Mac Work, and she'd like to just give you a brief overview of the actual project itself so that you have a good idea exactly what the work that's going to be performed.
Good evening. Alyssa Kriplin with MacWork. There we go. So the park design, the goal was to try and it's a very small park. It's literally a large traffic island, but it has this beautiful historic water feature in the center of it, which has seen better days. While it actually does function, there has been deterioration of the distribution ring, and the lighting has mostly died. So a lot of the project was involved in restoring the actual water feature. And then the second part was, our goal was to try and make it a little more accessible to pedestrians as they come past, while also maintaining its visibility as you're driving through the area. You'll see that the sidewalk now comes up and wraps around the water feature so that you can now actually come up and occupy the park. Currently, the water feature is cut off from the sidewalk with grass, so this is now ADA compliant. You can come all the way up to the level of the fountain, which is higher than the street, and be seated on benches. There's an information plaque proposed that will tell you about the history of the subdivision, which is where the park got its name, and also be able to learn about the history of the water feature, since it also became a war memorial after the war. New planting is proposed with a large tree in the back, kind of framing the view, and then keeping the corners open so that you can see the water feature coming from either direction, but with shade where the seating area is located. And then the paving is proposed to be a concrete paving with a salt rock finish, which gives it the look of an oolite rock. And then the benches are oolite slabs, which ties it back to the native planting and the native conditions in the area. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Oh,
Mr. Mayor,
yeah.
through you to to staff, to the organization, to the company, tell me what you're gonna do to the actual existing fountain. It's got deterioration, are you just shoring it up a little bit, or you?
No, it's actually going to get renovated. The water plumbing aspects need to be updated. So it'll have a new pump. It's going to have new lighting because the lighting doesn't currently work, and the lighting is currently actually not in the historic location. And in addition to that, the ring, which is around, it kind of has an uneven flow right now around the edges because of clogging of the holes in the drip line.
You're not tearing down what's there to
Oh, no,
replace
no, no.
it with a move?
And in fact,
Okay.
the stonework doesn't get touched at all because I consulted with some experts in the area on this particular rock. And the difficulty is that when you install new versions of the oolite, it's so compact and dense that it doesn't reflect what's around it. So there's one portion of the one side that's deteriorated further than others because of wind blowing chlorinated water and so on onto it. So the the pointing, that's the white mortar marks, has deteriorated. Their recommendation was to simply replace the white mortar marks and leave the stone as it is. It's not so deteriorated that it has any structural issues. It's purely an aesthetic, and in fact, when you look at historic photos from the 50s, the stone had already deteriorated at that point.
Yeah, no, I know
So-
it's not pristine from.
And it's not supposed to be.
Right.
Exactly. So we're repointing it only. The actual stone, other than that, the actual stone completely stays untouched. The canopy stays untouched. Basically, it's been painted about 40 million times.
Right.
So strip that back, clean it up, re-waterproof the basin around the bottom, but the form of the actual basin, the basin doesn't get removed. None of the masonry aspects get touched at all, other than to clean them up.
And the plaque wording is going to be.
It's to be determined, but we actually had to present to the county historic because it's designated with them. And so the county actually did a full presentation on the history of the area, so it'll basically be a slightly condensed version of that. Right now, it's going to be a matter of seeing how much we can fit on the size plaque that we have.
Sure. I might suggest that we make sure we run it by the North Miami Historical Society members, because there's a couple of people who predate, or just about the same time date that same fountain, and so they can.
They were very helpful actually and provided a lot of the historic photographs for the presentation.
Is there anything gonna be done with the landscaping on the outside?
The landscaping gets completely replaced.
Okay.
So both ground covers and trees, we are retaining and or relocating crepe myrtles that are on the north end because they're actually very nice specimens and they're very healthy. So the one on the east is retained. The one on the west is a little bit too close to the corner and actually kind of blocks. It's now become such a nice size that it kind of blocks the view of the actual water feature. So we're shifting it around to the back to help provide shade for the benches.
Now, I'm not sure. I'm kind of a little bit confused because I remember about 2 years ago or so, in our council meeting, actually, what's her name? Sorry, the director of CPND, Mr. Jour. You know, I worked with her on that, you know, on that a monument or whatever you call it. And didn't we allocate some money, some funding to repair? Yes, no, don't shake your head, no, we did.
Not through the city, through the CRA, it was part of the
Huh?
CRA plan.
As far as I know, it's always been in the CRA plan. I mean, I
No,
can go back.
but we repaired, we did some work in it less than 2 years ago.
No.
We got it
No, we
historic-
did, we
We got it
did.
historically designated about 2 years
We
ago.
did designated the Historical Society came and they had a good presentation.
We had to
cleanup
get
that
plans
was done.
drawn.
Mhm.
We had to get these plans drawn, and then we had to do a bid so we could get it done. So we might have paid to have the plans drawn, but
But nothing,
we haven't touched
I'd
it
have to
yet.
go and look back at resolutions and.
yeah, please check on that because I remember from general fund, money was allocated and I was told that work was done, that it was painted or
It's funny
something, yeah.
that the mayor mentioned that because I remember maybe about 2 years ago, I
Yeah.
attended a meeting in Bay Harbor
Maybe
at the
we
whole,
should downtown
it was in regards to that.
master plan, but it seems like we never actually did the work.
Yes, so it is from the downtown master plan. CPND has been working on it. They were the ones that were instrumental in the whole historical
Okay.
designation and so on and so forth. But as far as the funding, it came
Oh.
from the CRA. It was in the budget for the past 2 years. And that's
Now
one
we have
reason
to go
why
back.
need
We have to go back to the history of our minutes. Because I know this was discussed, money was allocated. That wasn't the CRA item. It was a general council meeting. Because I came up with it, so I have to know because that was one of the projects of mine.
I will follow up with
It's,
Mr. Jour.
please follow up with Mr. Zhu. Yeah. So we have to open it to the public now? Okay, the item is now open to the public for questions or comments. See none, hear none, public hearing is closed. Any further questions or concerns from the dais?
Move approval?
Second?
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to approve agenda item number 3. That motion was seconded by Chairman Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0. Agenda item number 4. A resolution of the chair and board member of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the recommendation of award of invitation for bid IFB number 51-17-18, renovation of the Liberty Gardens Park to SEPCO Contracting LLC, authorizing the CRA Executive Director and CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with SEPCO Contracting LLC as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for a contract
No,
amount.
item 3? It will be 3 or 4?
Item 4, the license plate.
I thought we talked about that. But we already got the presentation, so we can just vote on it.
Do I continue?
Hmm?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It says 4. It's
4.
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah, it's 14. That's what I have.
That's not the way it is in the agenda, though.
Hmm?
In the agenda, this is item 4.
Oh, so that's 13, that's 3, okay. Let's start over. A resolution, agenda item number 4, a resolution of the chair and board member of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the recommendation of award of RFP number 13-17-18 license plate reader system for the City of North Miami Police Department to Centel LLC, authorizing the CRA Executive Director and CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize agreement with Centel LLC as the highest ranked respondent for an initial term of 3 years with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year periods at the discretion of the CRA Executive Director or his or her designee for an amount not to exceed $165,000, authorizing the chairman and CRA executive director to execute an agreement authorizing the CRA executive director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement and providing an effective date. Agenda number 4.
Mr.
You
Chair.
mean the attorney and the director? You said the chairman and the director.
I say chairman and.
No, that would be the attorney and the director.
Well,
No?
the chairman and the executive director both signed the agreement.
Oh, I thought he said to work out, to negotiate the agreement.
That would be
I-
the executive director and the attorney. I just want to
Mm.
correct for the record, the resolution and the staff report said its amount not to exceed $165,000 annually.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna.
So I would just like to ask Mr. Destrade to tell us the amount. I heard earlier that the 165 was in last fiscal year's budget. And
Right.
what's gonna be in 19 budget, and what's going down the road, is that to be negotiated then?
Again, the amount that you have there is for this initial pilot program. As was earlier mentioned by both the executive director and the assistant chief Page, this amount is for the initial 5 locations that you have. So this is just the amount for this. It's not an annual amount. It was a
Yeah,
Scrivener's
so
error.
we
It
need
was
to
a Scrivener's error.
redact the word annually in the resolution.
Exactly.
Well,
Hmm? Oh, item 5?
Can we talk?
5?
How is it?
That's
Four.
5 or 4?
4.
Four.
Oh, public hearing is open on the item because we already had a presentation, CMI presentation by the Assistant Chief Page. I see no one coming, but so public hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor, my only concern with the item, I don't know if we have enough data, but I do see that the police said it's working, so we'll go by with what they say, but.
If you want, what we can
not
do, sir,
100%.
what we can do, sir, is request from some of the other jurisdictions, local jurisdictions that have them, to see if we can get some of their data and compile a report for you.
So, well, but the other question would be, who will have access to this information? I mean, can any civilian, any person or business person can come
No,
and say and ask, okay, on such and such date at such and such time, I want to know if my husband passed by. So, can you check these? I mean, I know it's funny, but that's privacy right there. And who will be able to come in? Not that I'm going to be passing and don't want my wife to know. But, hey, I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
that data would be stored by us. It'd be our data, and unless we were forced to release it by court order, by warrant, or something else, we would maintain that
not
data.
by wives or girlfriends or boyfriends.
No, okay,
Okay.
so that's not a public record request?
We'd have to speak with the city attorney to get the exact nuances in it, but generally cities do not release that type of license plate data. It's on part of ongoing investigations.
Yeah, it's only if it's court.
My whole thing is I think it needs to be a more inclusive package for the city, but you know, this pilot thing. Go ahead.
That's
I have a
it.
question, can I say something? Just about item 3.
Your mic.
Yeah, item number 3. And
3 is done.
I understand that, but I was doing something else. And it's for $267,000. Make sure next time you bring an item like that. And you guys bring the community action benefits plan. Because
Wait,
for
it's-
anything over 250,
That only applies to general fund.
General fund.
CRA.
But how do we get that to the CRA? Because that's
Well,
a
you
lot
can
of-
vote. You can vote on it. You can ask.
Next time. But let me
You
ask
need
you
to
this.
extend
It wasn't
We
165?
do have, well, no.
No,
in
no,
the-
we're talking about the previous item.
The manor,
Yeah.
the nice thing is 265?
267.
267.
But they're not replacing the thing, just fixing it?
It passed
The
already.
cost estimate the bid was 300,000. They came in under the bid.
Oh, wow.
We passed-
We put it at 300. Wow, thank you.
I do want to put on the record, I do believe in the interlocal, there is a requirement for,
Keep it a little bit low, please, because we're trying to have a meeting.
there's a requirement for new construction projects that they have to have a community benefits agreement. I'll get you the dollar threshold on, and that's on the CRA
So
side.
next time
Yeah.
you bring a project, we have that.
Can we get a item, I guess, for the CRA, Mr. Attorney?
You can be prepared.
Yes, the CRA can mirror the city's requirements if they want to adopt that policy. I mean, we're already have adopted the
Okay.
city's procurement
Procurement
policies.
policy, so that would make sense. We'll be aligned with everything. Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
So
What?
moved.
Second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
No.
No?
I have
This is number 5,
That's number 4.
number 4.
Okay.
Can you say tab number?
The
What
red
tab?
light camera.
Yes.
This the camera?
Which tab?
The red
Tab
light camera.
I have a motion made by Board Member Keys to approve agenda item number 4. That motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Because that's what I've been doing. I apologize, Gertie, can you please restate what's going on? I'm sorry. There's some tech issues. here.
That's the
Sure.
vote. Do you want to vote now?
Navigate the-
Yes.
the-
I have a motion made by Board Member Keys to approve agenda item number 4. That motion was seconded by Board Member Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Item passes 4-1.
I said no.
Oh, 2. I'm sorry, 3-2. Okay. Agenda item number 5, a resolution of the chair and board members of the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency approving the recommendation of award of invitation for bid IFB number 51-17-18, renovation of Liberty Gardens Park to SEPCO Contracting LLC, authorizing the CRA Executive Director and CRA Attorney to negotiate and finalize an agreement with SEPCO Contracting LLC as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for a contract not to exceed $297,559, authorizing the chairman and the CRA Executive Director to execute the agreement, authorizing the CRA Executive Director to take all action necessary to implement the terms of the agreement and providing an effective date. That's agenda number 5.
Board members, agenda item 5 is similar to agenda item number 3. It's a bid award for a renovations project, this project being for Liberty Gardens Pocket Park. And it's located at 715 Northeast 125th Street, right down the street from here. Again, the project architect is Ms. Alyssa Kriplin, and she'll discuss a little bit about the project. There were 4 bids that were received. The recommended award is to the contractor SEPCO Contracting for a price of $297,559. And I'll allow Alyssa to tell you a little bit about the project.
Before you, again, did we have a presentation on this? Yeah, we had the presentation of design. There was a design presentation on it. So who did the design?
This is the contract.
To
The
do the
con-
work.
To do what
Oh,
work?
so they okay.
Construction. You approved
So the design showed us what was gonna be done, and then now
Now we're
it's the
gonna do the
actual.
design. We gotta do the
Lord.
work.
So we had an estimate, excuse,
Go ahead,
we
go
had an
ahead.
estimate of $200,000, and we have a bid, the low bid of $341,000, and now we're talking about $297,000, so why have we gotten?
Yeah, that's too much
So
money. I'm gonna vote no on that. I mean, that
Yeah, I
small
mean-
park and that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
We,
Right, let me,
It's a lot of money.
well, the actual award is $297,559.
but they bid
we-
341.
Right, we were able to meet with the contractor, with Mr. Charles, and we were able to negotiate a reduction. Now, I need to add something with regards to cost estimates, right? cost estimates are simply that. Those are estimates. They're provided to our office, and we include them in the solicitation. Our office is not prepared. We're not engineers, we're not architects. And they're simply that, an estimate. What'll happen, sometimes the bids will come in higher, sometimes the bids will come in lower. I can give you a whole list of awards that we've done where the prices have come in significantly below the estimate.
Yeah?
So, you know, you put out and you come up with an estimate. It's just to give the marketplace an idea generally of what this cost, what the project cost is. But the actual cost comes in when the competitive bids come in for the projects.
I have to agree with what's been stated up here. I'm not comfortable with directing this, even just, some of it might be a set aside. It's too much for such a short, small project with a limited
Yeah,
impact.
it's the same
I mean,
thing.
I can think of
No,
things
but
I
yeah.
want to bring forward soon that
too much
are in
money.
this ballpark that are far more impactful.
Our budget is 250.
So what
So
we can do,
we've already surpassed our budget.
Liberty
We've got a
Garden is
budget
this little
amount
corridor
for
there.
I know, but that little.
Liberty
little
Gardens
meadow
is
is even
250,
worse.
and how can we approve a $297,000 bid when our budget is 250? Where's the 47 coming from?
But can I say something, if I may? My concern is not so much, well, that's one concern, this item. The last one is the same thing too. The last one is a fountain, they're not even touching the structure, but they're doing some lighting work for almost 300,000. So, I mean,
well, with regards to historic preservation items.
Yes.
That the cost generally there is always more
because
of the restoration
Yeah, because it's-
elements. This one, what I was gonna just simply say is, if you're not these are the bids we got back. If you want us to, we can do a couple of things. We can value engineer down to the budget, so we can just.
But I I wouldn't think that's fair because the other one I had issues with. I voted for it because like you said, I thought it was restoration. It was 3-something. This one, although I think both of them are too high, but like he said, it is what it is. But you guys need to do a better job of coming a little bit closer to at least the estimate.
Well,
If it's
again,
40,000.
we brought we presented you with the design, and then we went out to bid with that design. Like I said, we can take the design elements that you approved, come back and kind of scale them down to a number, either back to the original budget that we put. The other thing with the budget, and I have to say this all the time, you guys just approved the budget, right? With some numbers in it. Some of that stuff, we know exactly what it is because we've done some estimating. In some cases, we don't know. So it's kind of, it's a line item. When we get into the actual operations and we get into design with the architects and dealing with the construction companies, then we realize it should have been more, or
Less.
in case of or it could, in some cases, could be less. I'll give you a perfect example.
I have a perfect one too. Yes,
The courtyard.
That's
Now, something anecdotal. We started doing the work. It was more. We're in the field, and guess what? Unforeseen condition. There's a road that was never removed under the plaza, so that had to be removed before
That's-
we
the road
The road that ran,
from that to
from
the police station.
125th to the police station.
Why
It was
do
still
you-
there. The sidewalk, everything was still there when
Right.
they
Is
lifted it
there-
up.
they just
So-
covered it over with the plaza.
Correct.
Is there
So
underground?
you have.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, actually.
But
No, I'm saying that'd be funny. I mean, I was on the
Mr.
council.
Mayor?
I know what they did. They just put the stuff over the.
We should have talked to you.
We have this design, we have like floating panels, we have 4 panels instead of 1 panel.
Right.
I'd like to go back to the drawing board and get
So-
something closer to the 200,
let me say this: if
rather
we
than
have-
taking a vote on that this evening.
Well, here's my thing, because I will take my vote back on this manor thing. Can I make a suggestion, because I think they both are high. So to be fair, can we leave it at the 250 and they work with the what you call the people,
contractors.
the number, and to meet the budget, Councilwoman, at least we will be on budget, and then they'll work to.
Why don't we just continue it till we get a number and get a project that we like? I don't wanna
No,
vote
and
yes.
don't we like that project? We're just gonna work with that number, the 250, and call it off.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think the
I think
problem
that's
with the administration is because you guys, for a presentation like that, you didn't bring the fact that we have a downtown comprehensive plan and it was in that plan, this is what it is. You just when something is not something new. We approved the downtown comprehensive plan, right? And those two items was in that plan that we approved. Now we just
We're
No, it's just the amount.
we're
But
implementing
Yeah.
those elements in the plan.
Mr.
yeah, but sometimes you got to bring it back.
Yeah,
The,
Mr. Manager,
the
I think
plan
there
and-
might be a compromise,
I-
because I
I
like,
just don't think we should grant a bid, agree to it till we get a number. I wouldn't.
well, I agree, and that's why I say
I would like to just
the two-
continue it till we
Let's
get a little
continue.
more.
continue
Put it
it
in
to
there.
the next one, or
Next,
continue
yeah.
the whole bid? How does
No,
that
You wanna
work?
make a motion? If you wanna,
I
Make
make
a
a
mo-
motion that we continue this till we get a number and a project that we're agreeing to.
When you said a project, so we don't like what was presented?
We do, but it's gonna have to be tweaked, because we can't afford to do, maybe we can't afford everything we wanted, so we need to scale it back.
Well, see, I like what I saw,
Would
and
you
I
like-
would think,
But there's 4 replaceable murals. Maybe let's just get 1 mural. You know,
can
the-
we, can you talk with
We
and
certainly
see,
can.
with that 250, you say this is what you have?
where's the design in this? I don't even
Yeah,
see the design.
And I
The
think that
design
could
is
work
not
out
included.
instead of,
Is it,
you know.
is it, I don't see the design.
Well, we have it for you right here.
That's right there.
I mean, he.
Yeah, it's right
No.
here.
But why isn't it in the book?
It's right here.
We've been there. We
We've
need
done
to,
that.
we need to downsize it and downsize the
actually-
numbers.
It's
I think
here.
that we should be able, working with the designers and working with the contractor, and I think the board member, De Solme, it's an excellent idea, and I'm pretty sure we shouldn't have a problem in finding a way to come
With 250. and
to
cut it
that
off.
amount.
I want to come to your ribbon cutting of that, however they want to do
So-
it.
so
Maybe
also-
less little
So how do we
Make a
put it
motion.
then?
We'll make
So you, you can make an
Making a
a
motion.
motion to approve
250?
up to 250 for this
Why don't we do it at the
project.
next council?
I-
Next council.
I agree.
You can do
There's-
it now.
We don't
Then-
have to, we're still gonna have to come back and discuss it, so let's just continue it till we get a number
Okay,
and exactly what we're doing.
okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Huh?
I'm good.
Okay.
What's for
Whichever.
what?
I
What's
think we
for
need
the-
Motion to
that's a
continue.
motion, we need a second.
Motion to continue, so second it.
Next council, next meeting.
To the next meeting.
CRA
Yeah.
meeting.
All right, I have a motion made by, do I have a second? I'm sorry. Who second?
Yes.
Oh,
Then
this one.
you can
Okay.
second.
Thank you.
Yeah, to the next.
I have a
meeting.
motion made by Board Member Keys to continue the item, and that motion was seconded by,
Continue when?
until
to
the
the
next
next-
meeting, CRA Board meeting. And that motion was seconded by Board Member Desormeaux.
No, it was not.
What are you doing?
Oh,
Bien-Aimé, I'm sorry. Board Member Bien-Aimé, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Item passes 4-1.
No, two, three.
Who said no?
I said, oh,
Mayor
okay.
said
Two
no,
noes?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But if I say,
Can we,
okay,
for the
go ahead.
record, please
Yeah,
ask for
that's
the
fine.
vote again, Mr. Mayor? Even the person who's writing down is confused as to who voted yes and who voted no.
Okay, can you just a roll call quickly and?
Sure. Board Member Galvin?
Yes.
Board Member Keys?
yes.
Board Member Desormeaux?
No,
Board Member Bien-Aimé?
yes.
So item passes.
You didn't
You
ask.
didn't ask me.
Chairman, I'm sorry, Chairman Joseph?
Nay.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's all right,
Item
it's okay.
passes
Mhm.
3-2.
Yeah, there you go.
Item, that's number 5?
No, there's a number 6, I think.
Yeah, number 6, Office of the, no, it's just a letter.
Yeah, so, through the chairman of the board, item 6 is really just an item, we wanted to make sure it was, publicly presented. A few weeks back, I presented you, you received your direct, copies of the OIG report. If you recall, back in 2016, the county OIG commenced an audit as we were going through our CRA extension process. That process ended in August of 2018. And of the years that they looked at, they've had 3 findings. In the end of the report, you'll see my memo back to the OIG addressing the finding. Most of the findings were of a administrative nature, i.e., in one case, finding 1, it was how we were showing our budget rollovers from year to year and reprioritizations of projects. We have since changed, we had already changed that item. As You saw the amendment today presented to you. The second item, regarding,
I don't think we can go over to 7. Can we go to 7 o'clock because the council meeting is scheduled for 7?
I'd like to move to continue this. I have a lot of questions on this
Okay.
one. I felt this was a scathing ripping of the city.
The CRA.
the
Yeah.
CRA.
Okay.
Okay, so we can.
So I'd like to move to continue this to our
Yeah.
Sure.
October meeting.
Would you like for
Second.
them, would you like for the OIG to be present to present their report?
That would be awesome.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
All right, I can
Yeah.
request that. I don't know. They were
Okay.
aware that we were presenting today. but
It's
I'll-
second.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to continue the item until the next CRA meeting. That motion was seconded by Chairman Joseph. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes 5-0.
Any report from anyone?
3.
I just want to say congratulations to Steve Zelkowitz on his new position with Fox Rothschild.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
what's the company? Fox?
I have left Gray Robinson and joined a new law firm, Fox Rothschild. They are based in
Rothschild, okay.
Philadelphia. They have over 800 attorneys and 26 offices. And it's a much larger platform from which I can continue to serve the North Miami CRA.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
He's leaving?
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
We will take a 5-minute recess and reconvene at 7 p.m. for our regularly scheduled council meeting.